Yeah, we're live. Woo! This time I haven't messed it up. I'm a complete novice on StreamYard anyway. So we're live. We're live. We're live. We're live. Oh my gosh, this is like geek heaven right now. Two of the most knowledgeable geeks I know or have seen or interacted with in some way. On Red 5, we've got Dani. And then we've got my good friend Omar, who is just like a crazy. Omar's like one of those people, Dani, and you'll find out about it. Like Omar, and the thing about Omar is like he's really humble as well. But he's like when you're in the room with him, he's like probably one of the smartest people that you could ever know. Is that type of dude. And you could talk to Omar about anything, and his knowledge is on point. And I'm quite good on stuff as well. So me and Omar argue like cats and dogs, but we're good friends as well. And I like to keep him on his toes. So it's like Obi-Wan versus Anakin. He's Anakin, obviously. I'm Obi-Wan, and so he really would kick my ass pretty much. But because I'm Obi-Wan, I know his moves, so I still can kind of hang in the fight a little bit because of that. Is the inspired there. So, but I'm going to go to you, Dani, because Dani, this is your debut on Christian Fandom Geek on Red 5. You're a Red 5 legend already, Dani. Tell us about your channel. I know your comics and everything, which is like a EE, which is like a mobile phone brand we have over in the UK, which is just about everything, but it's about your comics and everything. But you used to be comics and cosmetics, didn't you?
Yes, I was comics and cosmetics because my channel started out as me breaking down a specific character storyline or movie or TV show while I was doing my makeup at the same time. But over the years, because it's been almost 5 years now, over the years, it has really grown into so many other things because I'm kind of ADD. I'm into everything, oh, look at that over there. Look at that over there. I can't really pick a favorite. So it just kind of evolved. And I kept getting pigeonholed by the community at large, especially by much bigger YouTubers. They would call me a beauty YouTuber. I'm like, that is not what
Oh my
what
gosh.
I do. And I mean, yeah, there's makeup involved, and I am a special effects artist, but that's not even the foundation of my channel. So this last season I went ahead and rebranded to just comics and that way you can fill in the blank with whatever else it is I'm talking about. And
Yeah.
I think it's really opened my channel up for more possibilities. My subscriber count definitely went up after that. It's like, guys in this community still seem to have a little bit of an issue with the fact that I happen to be a girl. And they didn't want to subscribe to some girly YouTube channel where I was, they thought it was just makeup. So I just rebranded to comics and got the handle and everything just for, ease and convenience. But we do everything. We do watch parties. We did a watch party for, oh gosh, we did the Acolyte. That turned into that that just devolved into trash talking while we were watching it. But we did the Acolyte and that did well. So we moved on to Agatha All Along. That
Yeah.
did really well. And this last one we did Dune Prophecy. Had a great time at that. But a couple times a month I will upload either, a breakdown of a character while doing my makeup or I have several editorials I've done. My most recent is The Secret Mission of Science Fiction, how sci-fi has been kind of waving these red flags at us for about 200 years, trying to warn and save humanity from itself. Not doing a very good job, mind you. We don't listen too good. But stuff like that, has Star Trek made us smarter? What are the real superpowers of women? What is so important about Harley Quinn? Like, why can we not change that crazy girl? Those are the kind of questions that rattle on in my brain, and sometimes I've just got to do something about it. So if you are like me and you've got a lot of questions and you like digging into that stuff and finding out more about the characters you love, or the genre you love, or maybe you've got a friend or you want to get into science fiction and comic books and stuff like that. And Comics and is the channel for you. There are 800 videos. 800
Wow.
800 videos to choose from.
Prolific, prolific.
Yeah, a little bit.
Danny, at some point, I want to talk to you about. Oh my gosh, this is too much for me. I can't deal with this. Like, I want to talk to you about science fiction stuff. Even that with you and Omar, myself talking about science fiction, that would be like it could be like a trilogy of episodes. Like, it'd be so good.
Well, I'm actually a science fiction author as well. Like on top of that, wow. So this is kind of my jam.
So great. So now I have to buy your book.
Please do.
My issue sometimes with science fiction is like, and I haven't read. I need to read up on more science fiction books, to be honest. I got into this, like the C.S. Lewis stuff a little bit, but it was a bit like some of the ideas were okay, but I need to go proper into it. But you know, with a lot of the science fiction movies, it's always like at some point they end up meeting their dad, and it's always the dad trope somewhere. And it's like, so I'm going to meet you, go a million miles away, and you're always talking to your dad. And it's like, what? Like, can we not come with it?
Because dads are important.
Yeah, it's always the issue with the dad is always it comes back to the issue with the dad. It's
that's everything. Haven't you been to therapy? It's always the parents.
Yes.
Yeah, I know about that one. Yeah, that's another conversation. That's another 50 episodes.
No, it's not just sci-fi. Even in the superhero genre, read anything by Rick Remender, pretty much about his dad. Yeah.
Omar, tell the guys and girls at home about you, man. Tell me about your geek. What got you into science fiction and Star Wars and comic books? What got you into that world?
Thunderbirds. That was my gateway drug.
Really, the old 60s.
Yes.
Puppets.
The puppets. Yes.
Interesting.
I didn't even know that it was a term, but I was a Fanderson because Jerry Anderson, the creator, many of those shows, Stingray, Captain Scarlet, Thunderbirds, Fireball XL5, all of those shows. That's as a kid, that's what kind of grabbed my imagination.
Did the British people not have more modern science fiction at the time?
But they did. I mean, we have our 2000 AD and everything, but it was one of those things. It was on reruns, like on a Friday evening.
Mm-hmm.
My dad was a fan when he was a child, and it came on, and I loved it. For me, like, I started to read the comics and everything like that. Nothing gives me more joy than getting a cutaway off like a machine where you can actually like see how it's supposed to have worked. And it was like those kind of things that really, really like took my imagination. So yeah, like even when it comes to my sci-fi, I'm more on the hard sci-fi side of things rather than the more kind of fantasy stuff. So yeah,
we were just talking about that on my show last night, actually.
All right.
That many people think they're sci-fi fans, and they're actually fantasy fans.
Yes, that's it. Also, give me a mech in my sci-fi. Like, I'm a happy lad there, especially in my anime. But yeah, so from Thunderbird comics came X-Men as my kind of gateway drug. X-Men and Spider-Man. Then just became like completely immersive in Marvel.
Which iterations, Omar? Which comics got you into it in the X-Men and Spider-Man?
For Spider-Man, we had a reprint. Marvel UK was around in the early 90s, so they used to do reprints. So it was my first. When I think of Spider-Man, the artist I always think of is John Romita Sr. Because because it was like the first one, because it was like reprints that we would get in the UK of John Romita Senior. So that would be my run. So it would be like the early, would be the 60s, early 70s style of Spider-Man. And with X-Men, it's Jim Lee, isn't it?
Chris
When
Claremont.
Chris Claremont, Jim Lee. Um, I was so like enthralled by it. I remember just like we have a comic shop in Birmingham, Nostalgia and Comics. I just remember just going through the back issue bins, just finding all the X-Men, like trying to learn the lore. You know, there's no Wikipedia then. You know,
No.
trying to just as one, just trying to work out who Cable is and
Yeah,
trying to work out.
that was a big deal back then. That was a
Yeah,
huge deal. And what a storyteller Claremont is. But
legendary.
just
Yeah.
amazing storyteller. Just not even just for comic books, like in general, the man is just an incredible storyteller. Huge influence on me.
Yeah, I mean, it's something like it's a bit of a lost art now because he
Yes.
used to write stories with an A, B, C plot, and you know, A finished, B like it would carry on. But
Mm-hmm.
because of now how you know comics are now packaged with graphic novels and or collected editions, you don't really get a B plot and a C plot anymore.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, this story ends. Okay, now we're going to move on to the other. But it was so seamless. I remember they used to have these black and white reprints of X-Men comics called Essential X-Men. I
Mm-hmm.
have like pretty much all the volumes. So I've read from issue 1 to I don't know, about issue 300 or something like that in black and white. And just like reading Claremont's full run, it's yeah, it's something special to actually read.
Yeah.
You have to kind of get into that kind of flow of how he writes, but once you
Mm-hmm.
get in, it's something special. So
I
yeah,
agree.
so massive X-Men fan. I came to DC a bit later, because the first thing I read was Zero Hour, which was after the Crisis of Infinite Earth, which wasn't particularly good.
Oh,
And
got
just
that
like
over there.
just seeing the JSA for the first time and being like, okay, this is nowhere near as cool as Marvel. I have complete respect for JSA right now. I think that they're amazing. I mean, we will be talking about that in a bit if we're talking about the Superman trailer.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
but yeah, now I fully appreciate JSA, and I love the whole idea of how the DC is kind of built on like a legacy, while
Mhm.
Marvel is kind of stuck in a stasis.
Mhm.
So I do like those. I do like that it's like the way the two different approaches now. So I do like that, and I'm an Image guy too, so I was there for when Wildcats 1 issue 1 came out, and Wetworks and Spawn. So yeah, that's my geek cred, and I come from a family of Greek geeks. My mum it was my mum who introduced me to Star Wars. My mum was the one who encouraged me to watch anime and stuff like that. So yeah,
That's totally cool.
My mom introduced me to Star Wars. My dad introduced me to Star Trek and Doctor Who.
nice. Yeah, my dad was Doctor Who was my dad's jam.
I've got a TARDIS just over there.
Nice.
Why are you guys so cool? Like, can I hang out with you guys more often, please? You guys are like really cool. Like, the most cool thing I do is like make lightsaber videos and think I'm amazing, and my little 3-year-old daughter thinks I'm the best thing ever.
That's the most important thing in the whole wide world. You need nothing else.
No, we literally she'll say like, "Oh, she'll say, Daddy, can we play lightsabers?" And I've got 2 lightsabers. One is working and one isn't lighting up. And she gives me the one that's not lighting up, and then she has the one that lights up.
My youngest daughter got me a 10-pack of lightsaber chopsticks a few years ago.
Nice.
Was like,
that is totally cool.
Awesome.
Nice.
And Omar's got a young one as well. So
all mine are adults.
So Omar's got his own little apprentice.
Yes.
Who is training up in the ways of the Force, aren't you?
Yeah, and the Green Lantern Corps.
Yes, very cool.
Okay, again, another future episode. Danny, like honestly, I'm gonna harass Danny so much. Like, I know how busy, Danny. I know how busy you are, but I'm gonna harass you so much to be like, doing episodes on my channel, and I would come on your channel as well. Like, we don't really care, but like just as long as we can hang out with you a bit more, to be honest. Is that all right? You're laughing, but I'm holding you to that. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about Superman. Let's talk about that trailer, Superman. I know, like, listen, sometimes I'm a bit naive, and it's sometimes you have that reaction where you get emotional, the music's emotional, you get all hyped up, and then you have to calm down and deconstruct afterwards, don't you, a little bit? So I've been looking on the internet, and I've watched the trailer probably about 30 times. Like I've watched it that much, and it's striking an emotional chord with me.
Yes.
It's striking. Now I know it's designed that way. I know the psychology of it, and I know how they draw you in and things like that. And they're very good at doing that. I think from what I've read as well, to do with James Gunn, in terms of the emphasis on bringing Superman back to a hopeful character, that and that the direction he's going is looking at the goodness within humanity. So it's not the sort of darker vision of Zack Snyder type thing. It's a more hopeful vision of a yeah. And I'm like, you know what? I want some of that. I want a hopeful Superman film. I want a hope. Now, I'm not saying that I didn't hate Man of Steel. I actually enjoy Man of Steel. I enjoy Man of Steel. I didn't think it was the best film ever, but I did enjoy it. But I did enjoy it for what it was. It had flaws. I think it had a lot of flaws, but I also I like Henry Cavill as well. I'm a big Henry Cavill fan, so I liked Henry Cavill as the Man of Steel. But this trailer has got me intrigued. I think they were clever bringing in Superman's dog in. I think there was a lot of emotional manipulation there, if I'm being honest. And I think in that sense, they knew what they were doing, and they knew they'd draw a reaction from the fans, and I think it worked. For me, it gave me, like, it made me think, wow, that, like, I got to the end of that, I was like, oh gosh, the hairs on my arms are standing up, and I got that vibe. I was like, oh my gosh, this is quite emotional. What did it do for you guys? I'll start with you, Dani, because you're the expert. Like, yeah, you'll be working for DC soon, won't you? But so,
if my boyfriend has any say in it, he's been saying for years, you should be like a historian for DC or Marvel. I'm like, first of all, there are others out there that are far, far more knowledgeable than myself. So he settled for me starting a YouTube channel. This was all his doing. I loved it. I really did. And I agree with what you said. I liked Man of Steel for what it was. I liked those movies. It was a beautiful time in my life. I got my first big screen Wonder Woman, which clearly I'm a Wonder Woman fan, like massive. That beautiful emotional moments in the Snyder era for me. But let's talk about the giant elephant in the room. That's not who Superman is. Superman isn't a broody guy. He doesn't have issues like that. Superman exists for one purpose and one purpose alone, and that is to show people that, yes, you can get knocked down. That's not what's important. What's important is that you keep getting back up and you keep pressing forward. Superman exists to show people that you can keep going. He is a beacon of hope. DC and Marvel, this is something that always kind of drove me crazy when people always ask, are you DC or are you Marvel? Well, that's comparing apples to oranges. They're actually two completely different things. Yes, they're both comic book publishers, but the point of both is totally different. Marvel is about ambiguity and relatability. It's about average Joe getting bitten by a spider and what would happen after. DC is not about ambiguity at all, stark differences between right and wrong, good and evil. It is not necessarily about relatability. It's about aspirations. It's about aspiring to be better. They create characters similar to gods to make them aspirational. You should want to do the right thing. You should want to be honest. You should put this above your own selfish needs, and so on and so forth. And that is what Superman is about. He is about what is he said it. He's said it for 100 years now. Truth, justice, and the American way. Sorry, boys.
It's fine.
That's what
know,
Captain Britain is for. We're talking Superman. I'm kidding. But no, that's the American way. He's talking about the American dream. And what is the American dream? The American dream is success through your own hard work and having no one that is capable of taking that away from you. The American dream is having your own land, your own home, raising your family, feeding them with your own two hands. That, metaphorically speaking, could be your own creative thought or whatever you're using to build your own corner of the world that no one can take from you, and just being happy. That's the American dream. That's the American way. Truth, justice, and the American way. He doesn't kill people. He never has. He's not broody. He's not angry. I mean, he has his moments, but Superman is always holding back because he doesn't want to hurt anyone. Superman was raised by human beings. He's an alien who immigrated, was raised by two American human parents, and thanks to them, he was given the gift of humanity. Had he not, he would have been some other superpowered alien out to dominate our planet and all its people. But because he was raised by his human American parents, he was given their values. And he gave him a humanity that we can't touch. It's like when someone immigrates to our country and all of a sudden they have this freedom to do things that they didn't have wherever they came from. They tend to appreciate that more because they know what it's like not to have it. People who were born and raised in the United States today, they don't know what it's like to not have some of these options available to them. They don't know. So they don't appreciate it as much as they probably should. But for someone who does know what that's like, they tend to appreciate it more. So Superman tends to really hold that humanity precious to him and treats it with such care and wants to show them, look, I want you to be happy. I want you to be safe. I want you to be joyful and just keep going. So he shows them how to do that. Again, we like the Zack Snyder film, but did you get any of that from the Zack Snyder film? No. But I'm getting that. I am getting every ounce of that from the James Gunn trailer.
Omar, let's pass you the mic, brother. What do you think?
I 100% agree with Danny with a lot of what's been said there. For me, this trailer is everything that I've wanted from a Superman movie for years. I'm not a fan of the Zack Snyder films. I like the Man of Steel. I did watch it at the cinema and everything, and I remember watching the start of it and being like, okay, this is going to be the representation of Superman for the 21st century to bring it to an audience. And I came out of that film going, that's not Superman. It's not. Like, again, Superman, as Danny said, is a beacon of hope. I mean, the signature, the sign on his chest, the House of L means hope. There's like, I know that James Gunn has said that one of his main inspirations for this film is All-Star Superman, which, if you have not read it, is one of the most amazing Superman stories.
I need to read it.
It's absolutely amazing. But it is about, like as Danny said, it's about hope. That's what that character is. That's in his DNA. And like even Superman Returns, that was just a pastiche of Richard Donner's Superman. Like it didn't really kind of do anything for me. This looks like it is reintroducing Superman to the 21st century, the way that that character is supposed to be. And
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. For me, I mean, as soon as he whistled and I saw that snow, I was like I
Oh,
knew exactly who
come
what
here,
that was.
good
I mean,
boy. Come here,
yeah,
good boy.
I was like, I was like, I was like, hold on, crypto's in here, and then also, as soon as I saw the dog, I was like, oh my gosh, I can see exactly what he's doing. I mean, even if you look at the supporting characters that's been selected for this film,
Mhm.
it's it's really pushing my DC buttons, really. I mean,
I got emotional watching that trailer. I got emotional.
yeah.
I did too.
I've watched it so many times now.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm
clocking
like,
that Guy Gardner, Mr. Terrific, Hawk Girl, Metamorpho. I mean, these aren't
okay,
even.
we're gonna go there. We're gonna go there. We're gonna go there. We're gonna go there. Right,
But,
because
but to select those kind of characters, I mean, these aren't necessarily the ones that's known, like like in general culture. Just like introducing those characters is just amazing
Like,
to me.
why would you pick Guy Gardner? Like, nobody hardly knows anything about Guy Gardner except for super fans like us. So
Yeah,
I'm sure the general audience is, and we've seen it all over the internet. Like, who is this douche?
yeah,
Like, look at his hair; it's so doofy. I'm like, well, first of all, it's supposed to be.
yes,
It's
that's
he's
it.
supposed to look doofy.
Mm.
But yeah, that was really interesting telling choices.
Yes, that's what I mean. Like, I mean, for me, just like seeing the third smartest man in the world, Mr. Terrific, in there,
Hmm.
that's for me. That's just like, okay, you got me there.
okay, right. Let's talk to me. Okay, talk to me about some individual. Let's deconstruct a little bit more then from the trailer, because there was a lot going on, like a lot going on there, and it's like obviously, and they weren't talking. There wasn't dialogue. It was just you just seeing it, and then the music.
Mm.
Again, the music. Wow, like that was so
Yeah,
well done.
bringing back the John Williams.
Yeah,
Hmm.
so well done.
Yeah,
I love the Hans Zimmer Man of Steel theme like that. Like
mm.
I love that theme. Big fan of Hans Zimmer, but the way that was done in the trailer, it was like, oh my gosh, like just it was just so well done. I was so happy. I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm really happy. But there was so much going on. I'm like, hang on, who are these? What is going on? Like, is like dragons turning up and all? What is going on? This is mental. What is actually going on? So Danny and Omar, can you break it down through what is going on? And you can. I don't mind if you start with Mr. Terrific. I've seen Mr. Terrific around in some of the animated stuff, but I've not known much about him as a character. But I have seen him around, so I was like, oh, okay, I've seen him around, but I didn't know much about him. So you guys go.
Um, I don't really know. I'm not as knowledgeable on Mr. Terrific as I am other characters. I know that his jacket, the Fair Play,
Fair play.
was
Yes.
from was it a wrestler, a famous wrestler or boxer that he
Yeah, I
kind of
believe so.
idolized,
No,
and
well,
so
Mr. Terrific, the one that we have now. I can't remember
mhm,
Holt, something Holt now. I can't remember his real name now. But he's
let's
actually
see.
the second Mr. Terrific,
Hmm.
because the original Mr. Terrific is from the Golden Age. He's actually tangentially related to the JSA. But he was inspired. If I remember correctly, the story is that he was almost like suicidal, and then was inspired by the original Mr. Terrific to become the
Yes,
new one.
there was an accidental death. His
Yeah,
wife, and she was pregnant, and he felt responsible
yeah,
for it. So he had made his wife late to church, like they were arguing, and so he blamed himself. Um because he was so smart. He was like, "Well, what's the point of religion?" Well, he changed his mind after that. That was for
yeah.
sure. But the specter shows up, as he
Mm.
sometimes does, and introduced him to Terry Sloan, who was the
Yes,
first,
the original Mr.
yeah, the
Terrific. Yeah,
first Mr. Terrific. And he inspired by Terry's story, he took on the name Mr. Terrific and joined the JSA. And then it says here that he wore ordinary clothes and a leather jacket with Sloan's Fair Play emblem on the back.
yeah. That's it,
Mm.
yeah. Because if you noticed it, like there's quite a few of those of the characters that's in the trailer
Mhm.
that are JSA. They're all JSA
Mm.
related.
Mm.
Because Hawk Girl
Hawk Girl, yeah.
also,
Yeah,
is
still Hawk
also
Girl. Yeah.
Is JSA related. Guy Gardner obviously was originally in canon is
Mhm.
actually the supposed to have been the Green Lantern before Hal Jordan.
That's true, but
So
he he was in a coma.
yeah. So Hal Jordan was the one who was picked
Yeah.
over Guy Gardner. So that's an interesting. I don't know if they'll explore that, but that's quite an interesting
Well,
one.
notice in the trailer, the only one that seems to be wearing anything close to his actual traditional uniform is Mr. Terrific. The
Yeah,
others, if you notice, they're all wearing matching uniforms because they are employed by Maxwell Lord, by Lord Corp. This is Justice League International when
yes.
Maxwell Lord owned them,
Max, well, Maxwell Lord. I
owned
don't
the
know if
team.
you know this one, Aaron, but Maxwell Lord, very interesting story arc that character has.
Yes.
I only know him, and it's probably like a not very good version from the Supergirl TV show.
Oh, Maxwell
Oh
was it Max?
yeah, he was on that, and he was Pedro Pascal played
Was
him
it
in
in
the very
Wonder Woman
garbage Wonder
84?
Woman 84.
Yeah,
That was awful. See, Maxwell Lord is extremely important, and that storyline that they or used in Wonder Woman 84 is also very important. But they really, really kind of peed all over it. Um, Maxwell Lord is a human, and he has mind control powers. He's a very strong telepath. He didn't have a magic wishing rock. He was a very powerful telepath. And he was mind controlling the Justice League and having them kill people like all over the planet. And he was doing it on worldwide TV. And the only way that he could be stopped was Wonder Woman showed up at the studio, slid behind him, and snapped his
and
neck.
snapped his neck.
International television. She is the first of the actual heroes in DC Comics that has actually killed someone, and she was forced to do so because there was no other way. In Wonder Woman 84, they have her just talk him down with logic and reason. I'm like, really? Have you won a lot of arguments online? Does that work for you?
What
So
you
they,
do, Danny? X is a perfectly reasonable platform. You must be you're misrepresenting, surely.
yeah.
Didn't he also killed Ted Cord, didn't he? The original Blue Beetle?
Yes. Yes, he did. Yes, he
Yeah, he
did.
did. Yeah, in that
Yeah.
time, splitting up Booster Gold and Blue
I have
Beetle.
some blue and gold too. I love Blue Beetle. I love Blue Beetle. And Booster Gold. I really, really love Booster Gold. And I'm just dying for an update on the Booster Gold show that they're going to be doing.
That'd be so
Um,
good.
oh, I feel like I should start wearing a tinfoil hat because I have said for some time that, man, Booster Gold, that just writes itself. You could do a TV show about Booster Gold. It writes itself. And I mean, within a week, like James Gunn announces, we're going to do a Booster Gold TV show. And I was like, he's listening. He's listening. Um, but anyway, Maxwell Lord, psychopath, smarmy, super powerful telepath, psychopath. And James Gunn's brother Sean is going to be playing him. So I'm very interested to see how that goes. But as far as we know, from what we can tell in the Superman trailer, Maxwell Lord is the owner of that Justice League International team that Guy Gardner, Hawk Girl, and Mr. Terrific are a part of. So they're wearing very corporate uniforms. I think I suspect or speculate is a better word. By the end of the film, they will have left that employ of Maxwell Lord and have their correct individual, more screen accurate or comic accurate suits. I do know that Guy Gardner is slated to appear in the Lanterns series that they're working on.
Yeah.
So that gives a little more credence, I think, to my speculation.
Oh,
I'm quite interested to seeing that Metamorpho's there because
Oh yes.
he's one of the outsiders. He's not
Mhm.
JSA kind of connected, so it's an interesting one, an interesting choice to kind of feature him too.
And Anthony Carrigan is such a he's really good at that creepy, weird character. He was Victor Zsasz on Gotham, and he was Soho Hank on Barry.
Right.
Body. Um, really, really love him. Looking forward to seeing him play Metamorpho.
That was the point when I stopped watching Gotham
Yeah.
when Mr. Zaz was shooting people. I was like, knives.
oh, well, you should no.
No,
Nice.
Mrs. Zaz.
You're a purist. Like, it's okay. I get it.
No,
Purist.
Mr. Zaz is his whole thing is knives, and I was just like, why are you shooting people?
You want it. 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 Comic book accurate. I know. I get that. That's just like me wanting like Star Wars films to not turn Luke Skywalker into something bizarre, and me and Omar argued about the Last Jedi. You simply do not walk into Mordor. No,
One doesn't make a crappy decision with legacy characters.
Thank you, Dani.
Sorry.
Omar was we argued. We had an episode where we argued, and it was a
wait, Omar, you cannot sit here and tell me that you enjoy the sequel.
He loved it. He loved it.
Last Jedi is the best film of the sequel trilogy.
I can't
It
even.
is.
I took him out. I'm not even gonna.
It is.
Dude, Luke Skywalker.
Oh my sweet summer child.
Listen, we waited. I mean, apart from the guys that read the extended universe books, and you got Luke getting married and all that sort of stuff. On screen, we waited for Luke Skywalker all that time, right? George Lucas waited way too long to make more films, so we waited a long time. It was built up too much, and then obviously, Luke. Luke doesn't come in the film. He's right at the end of the film. It's like, okay, all right, you made us wait a bit longer. So for the next film, it's going to be amazing. We're going to see Luke do some things we've never seen before. It's going to be so good. We've waited so long for this. And you give me this Howard hermit drinking weird milk. Like, what are you doing, Gov?
We waited all that time for Mandalorian season 2 finale to give us the return of Luke Skywalker that we actually wanted.
Yes, that we deserved. Dani deserved. It was
deserved.
We're not entitled. We deserved it. We wanted.
I agree. That's the height of Luke Skywalker in Mandalorian. Yes, 100% agree with that. The Last Jedi is a different stage of that character.
Look, Omar, I really want to like you. I just really want to like you.
Finally, I can gang up on Omar.
You're talking to a middle-aged woman who was fed the original trilogy like mother's milk.
Oh, same here. Same here.
I don't believe you because you're saying things that are contrary to that.
Oh man, so funny.
I can argue my side of it. I
know. We're having some fun at your expense.
Yeah, but I can argue my side. I tell you, I vouch for The Last Jedi.
Oh,
can we at least all agree that it is better than The Rise of Skywalker?
Yeah, I'd give you that. And the only reason I'll give you that is because it didn't backpedal. It just decided it was going a certain direction and then stuck to it, and then they backpedaled. So in that respect, yeah, it's better.
The Rise of Skywalker just really urinated on our childhood's legs. So that was somehow Palpatine returned. Somehow.
I don't understand. I don't understand how you could be given Star Wars and then The Force Awakens is okay. They played it safe in The Force Awakens, fair enough.
Force Awakens is A New Hope.
Yeah, it's they played it safe, and that's it's okay. You played it safe. You're setting it up. you're going to have 2 opportunities to smash it out the park now. You know, you've given us a bit of a setup and whatever. But I tell you what, I don't know what's going on, because Disney Lucasfilm, they're going about diversity, right? They do go on about diversity and things like that. And then I think they're like the way that they took Finn, and then they like pretended. I think that I don't think they're like black people at all, because
missed opportunity.
What they did with Finn was like, oh, we're giving you some badass Jedi. Oh no, we're not. We're giving you a janitor. It's like, get out of here. I think this is that was
100% a missed opportunity. Finn absolutely should have become a Jedi.
Oh my god! And then they suggest it in the 3rd film, but don't show it. What kind of madness is that? Like, Finn should have been front and center, and he should have been the man. And I don't understand what happened. I don't get it.
Like, it took Luke how many years on Dagobah to figure out how to float rocks, and Rey comes out and just blows open walls and stuff. Like,
but how long was he on Dagobah?
Oh,
longer than Rey had any training. I'll tell you that much for free.
I love this.
We've had this conversation because the timeline doesn't add up.
Star Wars is notoriously bad for time. They're not unlike Star Trek. Obviously, we all know.
I was going to say, it just reminds me of a Star Trek quote: "Timeline. There's no time to argue about time. We don't have the time."
So, thank you. Oh my gosh, that was very good. All right.
I know the whole scene by heart.
The thing is, we all know with Star Trek has great coherence with time. They're great with it. Like, they literally, even the physics of time, even how they break it down.
They use real science. They have actual scientists on set.
Yeah.
To make sure that what they're using isn't gobbledygook.
Yeah. So we know they're brilliant with time, and I do. I mean, the thing. Oh gosh, can we talk about this? Can we talk about Star Trek for about 5 minutes and then go back to where we were? All right. So in terms of that, like, I'm a Star Trek Voyager guy. Like I know other people are like, oh, Aaron, you can't say that because Next Generation.
Space Nine.
TNG.
Yeah,
I love. Listen, to me, Next Generation is just a given. Like, that's just a given. But aside from that, DS9, there's just something about Captain Sisko. Okay, I just really love Captain Sisko.
We're like Captain Sisko, but we're better looking versions of Sisko, aren't we? No, listen, like I say, like, and we were talking about this the other day, weren't we, about Sisko? Because we were saying, like, he's the only one that they've shown no love to and brought back on
because he doesn't want to. He just teaches. Yeah. But I have been tweeting at him for like the last 5 years, like, please.
Oh my gosh,
please.
Well, I can say, I know you've only just started Lower Decks, but they give DS9 quite a bit of love, a lot of references to DS9 in there. So, especially in the last season, there's a couple of really nice little nods to DS9.
When they start like giving attention to the slash fiction, though, I'm like, oh, come on, can we just leave that for the weird little corner of the fandom? Just kind of like, yeah, okay, we know you're there, but we don't want to look at you. You're just
the whole Bashir.
Yeah, it was a bit much for me. Why can't people just be friends anymore?
It was a different universe. It was a different universe.
Yeah.
I need to watch again. I need to catch up on this as well. There's so much stuff to catch up on. Man, so much good. But yeah, guys, you're not showing enough to Voyager, which is disappointing, actually.
No, I don't get me wrong. I love Voyager. I loved Voyager as it came on, but for
Voyager was so good. It was so good. It was so good, guys. They flipped the premise, and it's not, you're not going out to explore space. You're trying to get back home. How have you not bought into that? What is going on?
Aaron's watching for the plot. The plot being 7 of 9.
Yes. Man, life.
One thing I will have to say though, I couldn't stand Neelix. He was got to be one of the most annoying characters in Star Trek.
Tess.
What was wrong with Neelix?
Tess. So glad Tess is gone.
Yeah,
Yeah, the Tess, yeah, a Tess. She was like whatever, like you a nothing burger. But like Neelix had some value, and his interactions with Tuvok and how the arc with his friendship with Tuvok and the love hate relationship, that was good. That was solid. You know,
Yeah, was not a fan of Neelix.
Okay, all right, guys, all right, okay. Man, this episode's flown by. We're nearly like 45 minutes, and it's felt like about 5 minutes. It's flown by. Okay. So what is your big hope now for the rest of this year in terms of, well, there's not much of the rest of this year left, but going into next year in terms of what Superman could potentially do for the DC expanded universe? Do you think it could be a sort of a new start for DC? Obviously, I know that they've messed a lot of things up. Do you think this could be a new iteration, a new sort of start for them that could really get them going? And I know obviously they're not on CW anymore, are they? So that, I think are they going? So are they investing more into their own streaming platform? And I guess are they kind of doing a Disney thing on that in terms of like we're having it on our own thing?
Even though it's on
HBO.
Max. Yeah, Max. Yeah, that's what they're going to be streaming. But yeah, I personally think that if they can, just like how Danny, what you were saying, if they keep to the DNA of what makes DC DC, not what Snyder thinks, because that's not the DNA of that. He completely missed the point on pretty much everything.
Yes.
Like every character that he's touched, he missed. I mean, even Watchmen. We've had this where it's a facsimile of the comic, but completely misses the point of what that was trying to tell. Like, if they stick to the actual DNA of what makes DC DC, we could be onto an absolute winner, because it's definitely something that is not what Marvel's doing. It's a completely different kettle of fish.
Exactly.
So, and if they can bring that kind of fresh air to the genre in movies, I think we could be in for a really, really good time.
I could 100% agree. The problem has been this entire time is that DC is trying to beat Marvel at their own game. But
100%.
they're not the same. This is cricket and baseball. You can't do that. You can't play by cricket rules and expect people to recognize baseball. It doesn't work that way. That's not why people read and continue to read DC Comics. That's not why we watched the animated universe, Superman, Batman, Justice League Unlimited. That's not why we watch that stuff. We didn't watch it because, hey, this is like Marvel. Cool. We watched it because it was DC. It was its own thing. And I think the point people have been missing all this time is, no, they shouldn't. They're focusing more on the technical aspect of doing things like Marvel, like doing your solo films and then an ensemble, like letting people emotionally connect and have a reason to invest in these characters before you have an ensemble thing. That's sure. Okay. Yes. I guess that's true. But they were still trying to make Marvel movies. They were still trying to make movies that appealed to a Marvel audience. No, we need to appeal to the DC audience and to the general audience and show the general audience why DC appeals to its DC audience.
Yeah.
So I think he's right. If they stick to the DNA of DC, we've got a winner on our hands.
Finally. Just a quick thing, like I had to mention this because I was a big Smallville fan.
Yeah, who wasn't?
Right. Like, what was your thoughts on Smallville? Do you think in terms of DC on a TV level, do you think they should kind of take some of the ideas of what they got from Smallville and how popular Smallville was and bring sort of some of those ideas into play now? Or what do you think?
No.
It's a different time. It's a different time.
Yeah.
They had to sanitize a lot of, even though they did take a lot of Silver Age stories, they sanitized it for the time where the culture could only take what they could take. Where now I think culture is more open to like the comic book kind of logic type
Right.
thing.
Yeah.
So I think we don't really we're beyond that now, I think
Right.
personally.
So how do you feel it should look now in this current
Well,
landscape?
and I think also we need to also remember, pardon me, we need to also remember that it's kind of like the Beatles. There's never going to be another Beatles. Okay. We got them. We are grateful. We still have the music we can listen to and appreciate and love, but they're never ever going to be recreated. You're never going to be able to recreate Beatlemania. It's just never going to happen. And the same thing rings true for shows like Smallville. It was something you just kind of had to be there to experience.
Oh, it was so good. It was so good.
And there's just you can't recapture that. CW tried and failed to recapture that Smallville magic that the WB had. And they couldn't. They tried for 15 years, and it's just something they couldn't recapture because it was just one of those things that it had a special moment. It was the first of its kind, and then it was over. That's what makes it special, because it ends. But we still have the DVDs. We have it on streaming. We can watch it whenever we want. But the experience of having it for the first time, like the gate's already open. Toothpaste is out of the tube. You can't put it back in and then surprise us again. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah, the only thing I would like to say about that though is please just if there was one thing to take from Smallville is make Lex Luthor like kind of a three-dimensional character going forward.
Yes.
Like that was, I mean,
Yes.
to be honest, when Lex Luthor was out of Smallville, I was kind of checked out for the most part because he was the most interesting character in that show. And just in the movies, if they can keep him to be more of a well-rounded character instead of just a, you know, Kevin Spacey trying to make Kryptonian land to sell, you know, a stupid plan like that. If we can make it like actually he is smart, then yeah, I think we could do something really cool with that.
He's he got quite dark with Lex and Lana Lang, didn't it, in Smallville? I remember, like, I know obviously Smallville, you know, kind of like I say, was like you say, was quite sanitized in some ways, but that little part got quite dark. I was like, oh gosh. I remember that. I was like, man, he's like, you know, really sticking it to Clark and like, you know, I'm with your woman and, you know, ha ha ha. And he's just like, wow, dude. You know, like,
Guy straight up marries Lana.
Yeah.
I know, man. He proper, like, he's just like, man, that was intense. I was like, man, I wanted to beat him up for Clark. I was like, man, don't disrespect him like that, man. Crazy, man. So, okay, we're coming towards the end because Danny, I know Omar, I know you guys are super busy, and we all. So, just final few thoughts on the trailer. Anything that we haven't covered so far, and your hope and expectation for the film.
I loved the trailer. I had an emotional reaction to it. The music, the builds to that crescendo, the swell. I felt it right in my chest. I felt invested in every single character almost immediately. He knows what he's doing. Okay, clearly he knows what he's doing. I know there's a lot of comments about, well, there's so many characters in there. And I've been one of them. I said to James Gunn myself, I was like, is there going to be enough screen time for Superman in the Superman movie? Like, looking at the cast list here, that's quite a lot. But knowing that it's going to be heavily inspired by All-Star Superman, that he wrote it with his father's memory in mind, and how much he respects it, how good he is at writing ensemble cast stories. I have a lot of faith in what he's doing. I have a lot of faith in what Gunn does as a filmmaker. And it's mostly anticipation now. I'm just really anticipating seeing it. And I think it's going to be good, not just for DC Studios and Warner Brothers, but it's going to be good for the comic book genre as a whole, because Marvel has needed decent competition this entire time. There's been nothing and no one to force Marvel to change or grow or evolve or give their best effort. They've been kind of sitting here with ultimate power this whole time and just thinking, you know what, hubris, guilty of hubris, thinking that we're just going to buy whatever it is they're selling, whether it's a turd sandwich or, golden crusted, whatever. They've really dropped the ball in effort lately, but I think having DC put forward something so good and so true to its character is going to light a fire under them. And all that means is all of us win.
Yeah. I think James Gunn is cooking something amazing. Omar, what do you think on this in terms of the film itself and your hopes for this movie and what James Gunn is doing?
Yeah, I completely agree with Danny with that. I have faith in James Gunn. I mean, to turn the Suicide Squad IP from what that crash fire was of that first film to what it was in that second one, make Peacemaker a thing.
Oh yeah, that's
I
great. I love
definitely,
Peacemaker.
yeah, I definitely can see. Yeah, I mean that's just an
We're
oddball character
Cena
that
fans
kind.
as well, aren't we?
Yeah, but just to see him do that, I definitely have faith in him to do something really, really interesting with the character. And yeah, from what I can see, he's taken the core of that character and being the first one since Richard Donner to actually bring back Superman to be who he actually is. I mean, I've recently got back into reading Action Comics again, and it's just a breath of fresh air. For, like, it's Superman being Superman. Leaning into that concept. Mark Waid currently writing it, and it's just lovely to read it like every week at the moment. So yeah, I'm really, really pumped to see how this one plays out. And I agree with Danny. I mean, just to kind of bring a little bit of a wrestling thing in there right now. WWE wouldn't be as good as it is now because AEW came in and then they made them feel like they actually have to do good again. And I believe that with DC, that could be the same thing for Marvel.
Okay,
Basic economics.
we might have to have an icebreaker conversation next time I get you guys together about your favorite wrestlers at the moment. That would be an interesting icebreaker.
It'd be easy because I haven't watched it since the 80s. So
okay. So Danny, your homework is to catch up on WWE and AEW.
That's okay. Zero interest whatsoever, but thank you.
Real life Superman people, the real life ones.
Those are not real life superheroes. Come on. That's
have you seen John Cena,
action soap opera?
Have you seen John Cena, The Big Show?
Oh, I know who Big Show is. That's years ago.
I do, Danny. I do recommend Daniel Warren Johnson's Do a Powerbomb comic book series, 5 issues. It's just been collected earlier on this year. It's I don't know if you know Daniel Warren Johnson. He's currently writing Transformers at the moment.
Oh,
but
okay.
like honestly, like seeing that kind of it's a wrestling thing, but it kind of mixes that kind of supernatural superhero type thing in there. It's put it this way, by the end of the comic, a wrestler wrestles God.
What? Okay, you've got me going now, especially with the religious aspect.
So yeah, it just as a cost contamination, it's possibly my favorite comic of last year.
I'll
Okay,
write it
have
down.
you got that at home, Omar? Have you got that at your house? Can I come round and pick that up? Right. Okay, guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. What a phenomenal conversation. And we got to gang up on Omar about Star Wars as well. Yes. I knew Omar and Danny that you guys would get on, and I knew the interactions with you guys would be absolute star power. I knew it would be absolutely, I knew it. I absolutely knew it. I knew it because that's what I like. But this is the thing, like on my channel, I want quality conversations. I want to get people on that will have a great sort of interactions with each other and sort of bounce off each other and bring the best out in each other. And that's why I knew you guys together would be. So I was harassing Omar, and Omar was busy being a dad, like we all are. But he was busy, and I kept harassing him. You need to get on with Dani. You need to get on. You need to get on. And he finally saw reason. So well done. Right. Dani, thank you for debuting on Christian Fandom Geek.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and I will harass you until you get back on again with Omar again.
Okay.
All right. And Omar, always a pleasure. Go, Dani and Omar, go and do what you need to do because you guys are really super busy. And we'll be back again soon with a new episode of Christian Fandom Geek. Guys, thank you for today. God bless you.
Right.